So welcome Katie Worth, MD of Microbes in a startup in the south of England, who is kind of reinventing uh, gut health, system thinking about nature, and happy to have you on the show, Katie. Thank you for being with us, and let's talk about nature.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah, let's talk about nature.
Yeah.
What-
So how is your approach different and why? What's driving you?
well, what's driving us really is nature. So we are a probiotic brand based in the UK, as you said. And unlike most probiotic brands, we harvest our mother culture or our probiotic cultures from nature, directly from soil. And we don't engineer them, we don't change them in any way. We just collect them and then we ferment them 4 times, which increases the number of microbes. So we feed them with molasses and we keep them warm and we look after them and they expand and multiply. So by the time we have the probiotic product, which is after those 4 stages of fermentation, we have a high quality, highly diverse product. And we don't take any credit for that. The credit for that should go back to nature, which is the thing that created all of us. And within that is this incredible microbial life, which we don't fully yet understand. My dad talks about it a bit like space. You know, we have this kind of awesome wonder about space, this incredible frontier. And we like to think about the microbiome as that kind of inner space. You know, there's so much we don't know about it. There's so much to explore. There's so much happening, and we can't see this, but we can see the effects of it. So we see the health effects of bringing this incredible microbial diversity back into people.
Right. So I understand that it's some magic behind it, but maybe there's a big foundation also in your thinking about nature and why to join forces. So can you help us understand how is that different to maybe other approaches in the industry?
So for us, it's about trust. You know, it's about we trust nature. So, you know, quite a lot of people would come back to that with the idea, you know, oh, but what if there's a pathogen in there? What if there's something bad? And we're heavily regulated, so we do all of our testing. We know there's no pathogens in there. And it's not our job to, we don't think it's our job to completely fully understand this incredible microbial diversity because it has symbiotic relationships that science hasn't figured out yet. But we trust it because it's shown us time and time again that it can regenerate naturally. It can help organic systems. It has this intelligence, natural intelligence. So I think the difference between us and other brands is that we trust that, and we have had that trust reinforced time and time again the more that we use the products.
Okay. So for some people in the business or in the industry, trust is a big issue, and we all want to know how this works. And I understand you say, okay, we see the effects, the positive effects, but they are grounded in, can you just elaborate a little bit about it's like a circular system, it seems.
Mhm. Very
So
much so.
maybe, we can better understand if you give us that whole picture
Okay.
of the trust, where you trust in.
So a couple of things spring to mind for that. So um uh microbial life is all about balance. So if you have a microbial system which has an overpopulation of pathogens or negative microbes, the whole system goes into kind of it is not healthy, turns out to be not healthy. In your gut, you call it dysbiosis. In the environment, there's another word for it, but basically there's an imbalance there. When you have a balance of positive, beneficial microbes, that changes the whole system, the whole environment to a beneficial, healthy system. And that happens in many different parts in the body, in soils, in the environment. So there's this kind of balance bit, which is part of the trust. Um, and
What
the
the
other
balance? What is the balance about, and why is balance so important?
Well, all systems balance, and basically we've tried for such a long time to kill all microbial life, and it's a bit like the war on drugs. It just will never ever work. You just end up making the bad guys more powerful and stronger. And now we're facing this huge issue of antimicrobial resistance, which is a big deal for agriculture and for livestock and for humans. So
Mhm.
there's a some people think in the next 10 years in the UK, we could be losing 300, 400,000 people a year to diseases which cannot be treated with antibiotics anymore. So we've had this kind of war on microbes to try and kill the bad guys, which hasn't worked. And so now we're
Are
interested
you
in,
stopping? You're stopping this idea, good guy or good whatever, good chemical versus bad whatever.
good
It
bug versus bad bug. Yes, exactly. So you don't need to kill all of the pathogens in your home by using an antibacterial spray. You need to introduce beneficial bacteria,
okay.
which do the job for you, or in your
Okay,
gut.
Katie, just let's be practical. Yesterday, I was in the kitchen. I had to clean it up, and I had the choice to take either, the chemical version of some big brands, or I had your choice, your Microbz, cleaner, which is life. And I was so tempted, just, the ordinary. I would take the chemical, whatever, because I have to kill, I have to make it clean. So, how could you help me maybe take a better choice next time?
Well, I would say you have an outdated idea of what is clean. So in your
Oh,
mind,
excuse me.
you're equating the idea of killing bacteria with the idea of things being clean. And this is a mindset, it's a mentality that's being drilled into us through advertising. Of course, sterile surgical environments need to be sterile. There's a reason for that, of course, but your kitchen counter will never ever be a space that has no bacteria on it. And if you spray it with antibiotics or with those kind of bugs, you just kill everything, like you kill everything in your stomach. If you add beneficial microbes, they do that job for you. They outcompete. They basically live in the crevices of your countertop and outcompete bad bacteria. So you're working with nature. You're using nature to do all these jobs.
Okay. Well, there's an interesting idea. So the microbes help me kill bad bacteria.
Say that again.
Pardon me?
Can you repeat the question?
Uh, it looks like that the microbes, you say they're beneficial. The microbes kill bad bacteria on my kitchen counter or whatever.
So we would use the word outcompete. So they basically neutralize the threat by outcompeting it, by becoming more populated. So microbes they grow this biofilm on surfaces in your gut and other surfaces, which outcompetes pathogens. So it's not like the war on drugs where you're trying to kill them. It's about outcompeting them. So dominating or
So
uh,
it's out competing. How is that beneficial?
Well, it's beneficial because every time you kill the bad bacteria in your house, it learns how to modify itself against that threat in the future, and it turns into something that is genetically or adapted to fight that threat. So you're creating a superbug. I mean, in the extreme level, in hospitals in the UK, we now have this MRSA issue
Mhm,
because
mhm.
we've spent so long trying to kill all this bacteria. It's mutated in order to not
I-
be impacted by the same chemicals.
okay. So
So
I
when you
understand it's like um, you're not, your idea is never about going against something that will
Yes.
reinforce it. You named the issues about hospitals, having multi-resistant issues, and so on and so forth. But your idea is join forces with nature, and your idea was building like a living film
Mhm.
because we are living organisms that maybe
Mhm.
support each other. Is that the idea?
That's the idea, definitely. And coming back to something you mentioned before, how does it work? Microbes are wonderful at two things. They they build life, so they in your gut they take nutrients from food and they help make that into short chain fatty acids and proteins and stuff. And they're also incredibly good at breaking down life. So breaking things down into their fundamental parts, uh, releasing carbon, all that kind of thing. So they have these two jobs in the cycle of life. The cycle of life is about growth and building and creating, and then about decaying and fermenting that and releasing all those basic level proteins, carbons back into soils or bodies. So they have this incredible ability themselves to close this cycle of life. And for us, it's not about it's about harnessing that incredible power. It's not
Mhm.
about trying to understand it scientifically and replicating it. It's just
Mhm.
trusting that in any situation they will know what to create and what
Yeah.
to break down.
So you then use that for recultivating the garden,
Yeah,
helping pets, animals, even for us human beings. Um,
I know.
so uh, you told me the idea is maybe not even selling microbes that help us, fill a hole, but even go further. So maybe you can, you know, widening the picture and the frame of your approach.
Yes, thank you. I find this so important. I feel really passionate about it. So, if we take a step back from supplements, so supplements is something that we take more and more. The supplement business is growing very fast. And that's all about putting stuff back in your body, like zinc, magnesium, all these vitamins and minerals. And I feel like society has slept walked into that reality without really asking the question, why do I need to take all these supplements?
Mhm.
So, from our perspective, that is about nutrient density in food. So, one of the reasons people need to take more supplements is because the food that they're eating is less nutrient dense than it was 20 years, 50 years ago. So, if you eat a carrot today, you'll need to eat 20 carrots today to get the nutrition that you got from that carrot 20 years, one carrot 20 years ago.
Oh, and I
There's,
even don't eat one carrot a day.
yeah. So there's this kind of nutrient density which is decreasing in food. And um, and that we believe is due to soil health. So soil health in the UK has been damaged dramatically, and there's not much life left in it, and it's been over chemicalized, overused. It doesn't have what it needs to have in it in terms of microbes, organic matter, and minerals to get nutrients into foods, and those nutrients to then be passed into the human body. So we would
This is
rather,
this sounds weird and insane. Now, being practical again, I go to my supermarket and it sounds like even though I buy fresh food, the fresh food is kind of dead because there's no living life back in that fruit. And then I'll take it knowing it's kind of dead, and then I need supplements to help me make dead food more, bring back what's not in there. So
it's mad, isn't it? It's absolutely mad when you step back and think
that's
about it.
mad.
It's mad. And
So
we don't need,
I,
it's basically all the micronutrients like phosphorus and calcium and zinc. We don't need very much of these things, but we need little bits regularly. So that's what we're missing. And that's why supplement culture has been, and it's quite incredible how basically if a carrot's growing in the soil, what it does is it sends out enzymes or sugars into the soil, and the microbes go out and find phosphorus and zinc and magnesium and stuff and bring it back to the plant's roots, which it then absorbs into the plant. So it's a microbial system that gets this nutrient density into the foods in the first place. And if the soil doesn't have those microbes in it, it can't transfer those nutrients into the foods.
So coming back to this overall idea of circular thinking, closing
Mm,
the loop, this would mean we need to work with the soil, maybe even first, to bring out fresh, not just fresh food, but alive, living
alive,
food
living food, yeah.
into our bodies that bring the microbes into our bodies that are beneficial and help the entire gut system uh, to, we know that the gut is just there's it's the intelligence of the entire body. It has a big connection to the brain. So if you have a health gut, then you're healthy in life, you're powerful, you're strong, you can lead the way. So how do you close the loop now?
So a couple of things here. So our product, what it basically does is it takes loads and loads of beneficial soil microbes and herbs and minerals and gives you that in a supplement. So it's like, here you go, here's all the stuff that you're missing from the soils in a supplement. And what we see from that is people's health generally dramatically increases, and they see relief from some severe gut health issues. But we don't want to have to give you this soil-based probiotic
Mhm.
forever. We would love to be able to fix this soil issue in the UK to bring life back into soils and have a food system which is local and which is healthy, so that you don't have to take supplements anymore, because that road feels like a dangerous road. How much longer do we have
Mhm.
soil health for? How many more supplements do we need to take? The
Mhm.
supplement industry is a wild west industry. It's full of people who are giving you things that you can't absorb. So in the long term, the road needs to be back to a natural system, a soil-based healthy system. So we would
Mhm.
love to close that, and I'm talking 50 years. I don't expect this to happen next week, but in the UK, I don't know how it is in Germany. We do have a lot of companies and farmers and organizations who are really passionate about soil health. So it's becoming quite a big and exciting issue and world to be in. And we all envisage a future which is healthier.
Mhm. Now, can you give us some showcases about health effectiveness you can bring to life? So
Yeah, sure. I mean,
what do you see when with your product?
so one of the things that I love that I see often with the products is people start taking it for a reason, whatever reason that would be. So IBS, IBD, some kind of gut health issue. And then they realize that something else clears up. So their skin clears up. The weirdest one I ever had was somebody had really itchy ears and they couldn't do anything to stop this itch. And they took the probiotic for a gut health issue and their ears cleaned up. So what I take from that is we all have individual microbiomes, and we have this very diverse soil health microbial population. And it's our belief that
Mhm. Mhm.
that the microbes have an intelligence and the body has an intelligence, and they kind of work together to
Mhm.
fix issues. So often things are sorted out that I wouldn't have imagined would have a microbial impact. So it reinforces this idea that the body is this incredible microbial system. We have microbes, billions of them in us. And if they're given more diversity, more balance,
Mhm. Mhm.
they can sort issues out for themselves. They don't need us being like, oh, what you need is this particular microbe for this particular thing.
So you see,
That's the trusting nature thing. We trust the
uh-huh,
body and we trust the
uh-huh.
microbes that they can help bring about life. They can help people thrive.
So
Mm.
my takeaway from our podcast today is one is your approach is a circular approach, a regenerative approach, from, some call it from cradle to cradle,
Mm.
from the soil to the microbes, the living beneficial microbes that help the body self-heal.
Yeah,
My second takeaway is you don't focus on proving something. Your focus is on healing. Your focus is on seeing the effects and trust nature that nature does its job. So that's the second one. The third one is that you strongly believe about this balance, what I understood.
Mm,
Life is in balance, and that it's different to the classic traditional thinking, which is you have a problem, you have to fix the problem, and you have to go against whatever it causes. Yeah. And you say, no, if you go against something, you make it bigger. So you don't actually solve it. So your approach is, what I understand, is more you go for the underlying support system to support a balance. This is why you don't go for kind of supplements what's missing, but you re-infuse life into a dead body, a dead fruit, a dead soil. So these are my three takeaways. Am I missing something?
no, just thank you so much for for giving me this ability to talk about it. And I would say, just to end, that we take no acclamation for this. We feel like it's the microbes and their magnificence and their marvelousness that does all of this. It's just our job to facilitate it. So it's just our job to kind of rewild or populate these microbes, but actually they're the ones that do these incredible things.
Katie, coming from this, I mean, I'm in the leadership business, but this gives me some thought or food for thought about some inspiring questions. One is, you talk about nature and soul, and we know a company or organization is also a system.
Mm,
And how would that system be treated different if we didn't look like there's something missing? We need a training or coaching or something. But if we see it as a social soil system
mm,
that, where we bring in life, coming from purpose. So that's one thought that's really hitting me. How can see it totally different? The second one is that's already in the business. They call it circular design thinking or cradle to cradle. And I saw an example with BMW launching what they call Neue Klasse, new class, where they design the cars, in a circular way. So in the end of the life cycle, you can reuse everything
mm.
and don't have to dismantle, recycle. So how can that thinking be reinforced from cradle to cradle, coming from nature? And the last bit is an inspiring question to me is uh, this not going against something, uh, but like it's more like joining forces with
Mm,
with a basic idea that um, people want to contribute, like nature wants to contribute. Yeah.
mm.
So, and then thinking about if we are a system, there's nobody to be blamed if we don't perform, but it's more like going of what can I give, like from nature, what, and we don't understand it maybe fully, but we see the effects. So these are the three inspiring questions to me that come from our podcast today. Uh, and everybody who wants to know more about it, just Katie, I'm sure you're more than willing to answer more questions. Second, you
Definitely.
can buy products. I put it into the link below, but it's microbes.co.uk. And we should talk another time when you see more effects coming up in a bigger scale. So
Yeah, I'd love
for
that.
now, Katie, it was a pleasure. And let's join forces with nature.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Okay.
much for having me.
Thank you.